Okay, we asked, you answered, and boy, did you guys come through.
Lots of questions.
Some great questions, guys. For those of you that are new to the channel, I'm Jim,
And I'm Kelly.
and we have been full-timing in our heavy-duty truck and fifth wheel for over 6 years.
Cannot believe how fast it's gone.
Yep.
It's great.
And we didn't start the YouTube channel exactly when we started full-timing, but we started it to share some videos and our locations and some of our adventures with our kids and our family and our friends. And then it just kind of exploded, and you guys seem to enjoy it, so that's why we do what we do.
That's true.
3, 2, 1, action.
So last week we asked you guys, we have a lot of YouTube friends that will produce what they call a live stream on YouTube. But in order to get the correct day of the week, the correct time of day, to get everybody to be able to watch, we just weren't sure when to do that. And if you've never seen a live stream, what they do is they actually produce a live stream, and then you log on and you can ask questions or make comments, and then the people answer them. So rather than to do a live stream, we asked you guys, our community, to ask us some of the questions that you have about us and our lifestyle. And we got quite a few good ones.
We did. We really did.
So we're kind of excited about this. We're going to give this a try. You guys let us know how you like it. We're on our new lot, and we're going to do a video on the new lot here shortly. It's just been rainy and wet and rainy and snowy
and windy.
Oh, it's just been awful.
It's terrible.
This is the first nice day we've had, I think, since we've been here.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So we are going to share with you some of your questions and hopefully answer them. Some of them get a little personal, but that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
We put ourselves out there, so here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so first question from
Sandy Jones.
Sandy. For those of you that don't know Sandy, we know Sandy very well. She's a very good personal friend. She and her husband, Jeff, are very good friends of ours and lot owners here at Shyrock. And we're going to start out with her question.
When did the idea of traveling full-time come to you?
You want to take that, or you want me to?
You take it.
Wow. This is a big part of our backstory.
Yeah. And I might cry. I feel it coming on. I'm one of those.
So when we, so I retired, and we're going to get into that. There's another question about what we did as an occupation. But when I was still working as a contractor for the federal government, I negotiated some time off because Kelly had never been east of Kansas,
right?
And I had toured all 48 lower states when I was a kid. So I wanted to get out and I wanted to explore because I was partially retired. I was a contractor, and so we took a long trip from Washington State down to the southern tip, not into the Keys, but down to the southern tip of Florida, into the Everglades and back.
In 2 months.
Yeah, we did it in 2 months. And at the time, we owned a 32-acre mini ranch, whatever you want to call it. We had horses and dogs and that sort of thing. And it wasn't a working ranch, but it was kind of a hobby ranch for us. And that's what we thought we wanted to do in our retired life, was to run a small ranch. When we got back, well, let me clip that a little short. On our way back to Spokane, we made an arrangement. We made an appointment with all of our kids to meet up in Yellowstone. And so we stopped in Yellowstone. We got there a couple of days early, and Kelly and I were out sightseeing, and I'm trying to make this as short as I can. But we were out viewing some of the sites in Yellowstone, and at the time we had an M2 Freightliner truck, And I got out, and a lady was walking by, and she says, "Geez, that's a really nice truck." And I said, "Well, thank you." She says, "Are you full time?" And I said, "No." And I said, "Are you?" And she says, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, how long you been full timing?" And she said, 9.5 years.
I couldn't comprehend that. So I kept asking her questions like,
He walked right behind her. What
she
about
was
this?
so
What about
sweet.
that? What about
Yeah,
this? What
yeah.
about that?
What about your grandkids? Do you get to see your grandkids? How's it like being, living in an RV instead of a home and property? And yeah, that was pretty mind opening. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was good information. And so we met the kids. We had a blast at Yellowstone. We went home. When we got home, the grass and the weeds were waist high.
Couldn't find the horses.
Yeah, the horses were somewhere in the grass. We didn't know. And Kelly she still would love to garden, but she could. We got back in late spring, early summer, and it was too late to get her garden going. And it took us 2 months just to get caught up on the things around the ranch. And so we did that for 2 months. The next year, I negotiated 3 months off, and so we took off. Oh, was it 4?
Yeah, it was 4.
4 month. So we took off and went for 4 months, and I won't go into details on that one, but we had another blast and came back, and again the grass and the weeds were waist high, and we just couldn't get caught up. And I looked at Kelly and I said, "Well, we're going to have to make some changes or make a choice here.
Yes.
If we're going to travel part-time, long time, or even go full-time," because we had been talking about it, we're going to have to make some changes, and we just can't keep this property up and continue to do this. And so I looked at her and I said, "I got to tell you, God's telling me we need to go full-time."
And I said, I didn't hear that.
So
But I trust his faith, and I trust that he did hear from him. So, what else are you going to do? I was all in, even though I love to garden and I love my canning and of course my church family and all the kids and everything and his folks. And it was a lot to digest at one time.
So we prayed on it, and we came to the conclusion that, okay, well, if indeed I was getting the urge to go full-time because God wanted us to go full-time, we should probably be making some changes in our life. And so we contacted a realtor, and he came out and looked it over and said, "Well, yes, we can list it. I would suggest listing it in the spring," which gave us a year to pack up. And the reason that we think now, I think we're both in agreement, the reason that we went full-time is that we felt that God wanted us to go out on the road and share the word.
Yes. And pray for people.
Yeah.
We love praying for people.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing.
We are.
Did we answer question 1?
I think so.
We've been on the road for over 6 years now, and we haven't looked back.
So you ready for the second one?
Yeah.
All right. Amber Scott asked, is there anything you would have done different starting out versus now? I don't know. I mean, it was very, I think it turned out the way it was supposed to turn out.
Yeah,
I think it was very, I don't even know how the word, but it was, no. For my answer is no, because I can't think of how, because the way it was brought to us, and it was God, I mean, you can't second guess him and you can't change things. So it was a beautiful thing, which is why I need Kleenex, because yeah.
And again, I think we're going to get into this in a future question, but if I knew what I know now about our travel style, although we started out and our first trip out was we left during the summer and we spent our first winter in South Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 3-month stay, and I think it was at that point that we discovered that that's not our style.
No, staying in one spot for 3 months you could only see so much, and it was beautiful. South Texas is just beautiful, but it was, we were ready to go after a couple months.
Yeah.
It was like, we're done.
Yeah, we like to travel. We like to move about every week to 2 weeks, sometimes 3 maximum, but other than that, I don't think I would change a thing.
No. Oh, Roy Hernandez. Do you still have a stick and bricks as a future base or set plan of when your travels will come off the road?
That's a really good question.
is, yeah.
And we've been talking about doing a video about that. We're going to call the video our exit strategy.
Yeah.
And that's something that all full-timers need to be aware of, because there will be, it's not all fun and games on the road, as you guys have discovered through our videos. But you do need an exit strategy. There is a day, and Kelly and I are in agreement, there will be a day when we're going to hang up the keys, because it's just no longer feasible or safe for us to be on the road.
Right. I mean, we're not getting any younger. And so this is why we're doing it now, so we can
Yeah.
get to do what we want to do before something happens, because you don't know what tomorrow brings.
And we talk about our exit strategy a lot. This new Montana lot is part of our exit strategy, and we'll get into more detail on that later. To answer your question about the sticks and bricks, no, we did not keep a sticks and bricks.
No.
We sold the ranch and all of the equipment and our cars and everything else when we left, and we purged and purged and purged for about 6 or 7 months. So that we could fit everything that we own into a 10 by 10. It was actually a 10 by 20 storage unit. We kind of went over it a little bit on our 10 by 10. We shared it with our son for a number of years. And so no, we don't have a sticks and bricks. And to go into that a little bit more, we actually, when we sold the ranch, and we did okay on the sale.
Yeah.
We had quite a bit of equity. We put that into a high yield savings account for purposes like this lot. You can't go wrong, in our opinion, you can't go wrong with real estate and property. We did not want to be landlords.
Right.
We've been there, done that,
Yeah.
and it's just not our style.
No, it's not
So
fun.
we took that money and we just put it in a special account to save for items such as this.
Yeah, our future plan.
Our future, and so we aren't in debt, and that allowed us to cash out, our RV lots. Hopefully, it will. Well, we'll go into that in a future video.
Why we can make a big video on that. Just
yeah, we could go on deep on that. Okay, the next question is from, I believe it's Lynn Wagner. How did your children take the news that you were going to be full-timing and selling your sticks and bricks? I'm going to let Kelly answer this, because she had, well, go ahead.
Our oldest was thrilled. She's in Texas, and so she knew that we were going to be able to see her a lot more. Our son was, he was kind of sad because he didn't want to see us leave, but he was really excited for us. Our daughter, our middle daughter, she was not happy. We're very close, and we're close with her kids, and we did a lot of stuff together, and she couldn't figure out why we would want to do what we're doing. And I know a lot of you that are full-time have that issue too. And we explained to her, what Jim heard from the Lord, and she took it to her pastor, and again, I'm trying not to cry. Anyways, but he told her, he goes, would you want to stop them from sharing God's word and, bringing people to Christ? And, she wasn't looking at it that way. She was looking at it, and just like we are, we're selfish, and we want what we want, and we don't want things to change. And she realized that, yeah, I don't want them to stop bringing people to Christ. So anyways, it's still hard, and it's hard for me because I miss her so much. But anyways, she understands now. She does. She understands.
Yeah. Our son is really excited for us. Our daughter in Texas is really excited that we get to go down and see them a couple of times a year. All right. Shirley Harvey says, you've probably answered before, but I haven't found it. What did you do before full-timing? Do you have a remote job now? And I enjoy your travels. Well,
thank you.
Thank you, Shirley. We really...
This is our remote job.
We really haven't gone into detail about our past. I made a statement a couple of years ago that I worked for the federal government.
We have dead bodies under our bed.
People took off with the comments on that one. They thought maybe I worked for the FBI or the CIA or something, but
Because every time he would say he worked for the government, he'd
Yeah.
giggle.
yeah.
And so they're like,
I was blessed as a federal employee. I had a job that I was really good at, and
he loved.
I loved it. I'd have done it for nothing. I was an air traffic controller. I started out in the Air Force as a controller and then moved in with the FAA, started my career in Alaska, moved back to Spokane with our kids, and then back to Alaska and then back to Spokane. And that's the short version of the story. And Kelly has worked part-time. Well, when we first got married, she had a job with the bank.
When I first got married, I was with Boeing.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I worked there for 5 years. Then we moved to Alaska, and I worked for National Bank of Alaska.
Yeah.
But before we retired, I worked for the Spokane School District, and I was an IA in special needs and resource and disabled kids and behavioral. The whole gamut, and I just loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, we kind of made a decision early on in our married life that we wanted her to stay home with the kids as much as possible, and she stopped working at the bank for a while and raised our 2 kids, and then we moved to Spokane and had our 3rd child, and then he got into school age, and then that's when she started working part-time for the school district, and so she was a mommy.
I was a mommy.
Do we have a remote job now is the second part of that question. No, we don't. I retired from the FAA, and they asked me to come back as a contractor, as a training instructor, and I did that for, 7 years or so. So no, we don't have remote jobs. So America Bound, I'm certain this came off of Facebook. Oh no, this came off of our comments. America Bound says, okay, I would like to know where you guys met and what is the number one thing you like about the other person?
Just one. I read that and I'm like, I have a lot that I like about him.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right up front. We met when I was in the Air Force. I was stationed at McCord Air Force Base. She was going through kind of a relationship issue, and
not a very good one.
We kind of, she had a boyfriend that wasn't very kind, and so anyway, we met. It was a God thing. I'm just saying right now. We've been married 45 years, and and our friends said it would never last.
And you know what didn't last? Those friendships.
But we met early on in our life, and we got married. We met in November. I asked her to marry me in December, and we got married in February. So bang, and 45 years later, here we are.
But we met at a wedding.
Yeah.
He was in the wedding. He wasn't the groom.
No.
He was an usher, and I went with a girlfriend because, like he said, I was in a bad relationship, and I needed to get out. And I was so grateful because as soon as we met, we danced the whole night together, and we've been together ever since.
Yep. What is the one thing that I like about her? She is my best friend.
Can I not get through a video without crying?
She is my best friend. We talk a lot. Do we argue? Sure, we argue.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody argues. But we respect each other enough that we can get through any arguments or any disagreements. I'll call them. They're not really arguments.
No.
And
sometimes it's just remarks. You're like,
yeah.
really?
So we're best friends. That's the one thing that I love about her.
Yeah, I just can't imagine going through the rest of my life without him. I mean, so you have to stick around forever.
Okay.
I have to be the first one. But for me, I have so many things, and he is my best friend for sure. But he tells me all the time that how cute I am and adorable, and that he loves me. And see, here I go. He's just kind, and he's a good, he's a support system, and he takes care of me.
Okay.
Okay. Oh.
This one is off of our one of our videos. It's The Good Stuff. Says, love the videos. Newcomer the last few months or so.
Thank you.
What's your backstory? We kind of went through that. How you met? We went through that. Professions, we did that. How are you funding this? We don't look retirement age. Well, thank you. um,
A wing and a prayer is how we. No.
yeah, no, and there's a couple more financial questions here in a little bit. We make a budget every month. We make a budget, and we adjust that budget as necessary. With inflation the way it's been over the last couple of years, we've really had to make some adjustments.
Yes.
And we take from this and from that pile and put it in that pile. And if you don't have a budget, you should have a budget. But we have a budget and we have a savings account, and that's how we fund it. I'm a federal retiree. We're both on Social Security now, believe it or not, if we don't look retirement age. The Social Security isn't that much, to be quite honest with you.
It helps.
Yeah, but that's how we fund this. He says, why an 18-wheeler truck?
Why
this,
not?
This is a long one.
Yeah.
How limiting is that with regard to where you can stay? What's the miles per gallon? Does the config limit where you can go? Short answer, we went through 3 1-ton dualies before we went to the bigger trucks, and we just flat wore them out. The brakes on a 1-ton dually, this is way back now. I'm going way back. They've come a long way, but the brakes, I'd go through 3 sets of brakes in a year with that heavy rig behind us, and with the 1-ton dualies, even though they were diesel, if you're really meticulous on maintenance like we are, those are going to last you 200, maybe 300,000 before they start getting tired, and we just flat wore 3 of them out. That's why we went to the bigger truck. Big Red gets 7.5 miles to gallon on average. It doesn't seem to vary all that much, and yes, it does cost us some money. So if we go a couple 100 miles over to Spokane, it costs us about $90 in fuel one way. But it's no different than a diesel pusher, or the 1-ton dualies aren't getting much better mileage. And does it limit to where we can go? Yeah, we've only been turned away, I think, once. But we're very meticulous in what we select for campsites.
Yes.
And parks. We do a lot of boondocking, guys. We do an awful lot of boondocking. In fact, that's our preferred way to travel. And so we would rather be boondocking someplace in the national forest, or boondocking in the desert, or mooch-docking with our friends, for that matter. BLK123 says, would like to see some time with your family. Do you have a plan when you don't want a full-time anymore? We kind of went through our exit strategy, and we really do need to make we do have a plan, and we're probably going to go into more detail on that this summer. Some more, would like to see some time with your family. That's a hard one, guys. We put ourselves out there to you, and we're used to it. Our family is not. My mom and dad are still doing well. They're very healthy in Spokane. We have, as Kelly said, 3 kids. 2 of them are married. We have 4 grandkids. And they don't put themselves out, and especially the grandkids. We don't want to put the grandkids out there on social media. So
you might see them here or there, but
yeah.
It's not something that we choose to do.
Yeah.
We decided that a long time ago.
We try to respect their privacy,
Yeah.
and we hope you guys understand that. Randy Starr says, we never miss one of your videos. Well, thank you. Have you ridden the Hiawatha bike trail?
I did.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, the Hiawatha bike trail is right on the Idaho-Montana border at the top of Lookout Pass. It's an absolutely, oh my gosh, I looked at the pictures when she went. I couldn't go I don't remember why.
I think you were working.
But man, oh man, is that, and we hope to go on the Hiawatha, to be quite honest with you, Randy, that we would like to do that, and she just had a blast.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
We didn't go through the whole thing because our oldest daughter was very pregnant. And so, yeah. So she couldn't go very far.
His next question is, have you been or planning a trip to Glacier? Yes, we've been to Glacier a number of times.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The Canadian Rockies, absolutely.
Yeah.
Some of our best memories. We did our honeymoon in the Canadian Rockies in Banff, Alberta.
Yeah.
Oregon Dalles, yes, we boondocked down there at the Dalles, Randy. It's beautiful.
It's a great spot, too.
California National Parks, we don't we try to stay out of California because of cost, guys, to be quite honest. Cost, the cost of fuel, the cost of parks, everything is really, really expensive in California. And so, quite honestly, we just don't go.
And it makes us sad because California is beautiful.
It's some of the most beautiful parts of the country I've ever seen. Colorado. You know, funny you should ask that. We do, you know, when we sprint back and forth between Snowbird, we just blast through Colorado every time we go through.
We do, and complain about the traffic.
Yeah. But we are going to get to Colorado soon. We really need to spend some time in Colorado. It's absolutely gorgeous. Alaska. We lived in Alaska twice for a total of 10 years. 6 years the first time, 4 years the second time. We love Alaska.
Oh, I love it. I would love to go back.
But we've made that trip. Well, I've made it 13 times.
I made it 9.
Yeah, and so we've been there, done that. It's gorgeous. If you haven't been, it's an absolutely stunning, fantastic trip. And
beautiful.
But yeah, we've been to Alaska. Have we ever thought about downsizing at some point in the future? You know, I don't think so.
No. He keeps saying he's going to get a tent for the top of our Can-Am and sleep on the top of our Can-Am somewhere. And I'm thinking, I just like, well, have a good time, because I don't want to do that.
Yeah, Class B van is not for us.
No.
We have owned Class Cs. I would do a larger Class C. But since we full-time and we don't have a sticks and bricks, this is kind of our home and we want to be comfortable. And so we treat it as such. Can you share some of your future travel plans? You know, our plans are made in Jello.
Yeah. I mean, last year, it was the first time that we've really done what we did. Usually we go to the same spots and, you know, Quartzsite and go to Arizona area. And last year was pretty cool.
Yeah, we did a lot of firsts last year.
Yeah, it was neat.
And we're discussing this upcoming snowbird season, so we're not really sure.
Not sure.
And he says, we've RV'd full-time for 3 years and really missed our home church and fellowship, and people in live stream isn't the same. Do you ever feel that void? Yes.
Yes, we do. The church that we attended before we left is not the church now.
Right.
And so, which is, you know, it is what it is. But we have churches all over the place now. We have church in Sayre, Oklahoma. And when we're in Yuma, we have a church there. In Montana, we have a fabulous River of Life church that we attend to in Missoula. And it's taken us a while to find that. And we are so, I wish I could go every day or every Sunday, because it's a great church. But yeah, I do. I miss my girls at our first church, and of course my best friend is the pastor's wife, and they're in Texas now, so everything's changed. And for me, change is really hard, but I get to see her when we're in Texas because she's 4 miles from my daughter. But yeah, we miss that, working for the church, being involved. Yeah.
But I have to tell you, I'm gonna take a little different twist on this. Mm-hmm. Do we miss the fellowship? Certainly, if we're not able to. But as we travel, if we're going to stay over on a Sunday, I do a search on Google to find churches in the area that we're going to stay, and I go through and I narrow it down to 3 or 4, and then we look at them together. We look at them and make sure that they are Bible-based, Spirit-filled, and that's our criteria. And we have met some. That's how we found our church in Oklahoma. That's how we found our church down in Yuma.
Yep. We
did a search and then we started attending. We've only been disappointed twice while on the road with a church. And I won't go into detail on that. I'm just saying we really try. And the fellowship is not a concern. And as we go back to some of these places, we go back to the church and they remember us. It's kind of fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
So that's how we handle that. Wow.
We didn't realize it was going to be such a long video.
Okay, we're about the 30-minute mark here. Once we put it on the editing table and started looking at it, I mean, we've got some really good questions, and we don't want to leave out any of them to try to shorten this up. I've edited as best as I can. We hope you enjoyed this, and we're going to wrap this segment up and give you a part 2 later down the road. But we got some really good questions, and we can't thank you guys enough for those questions.
Yes.
Because it allowed us to hopefully answer some of your questions, get our story out there, and get to know you a little bit better. And maybe you get to know us a little bit better.
Well, you know us better now, that's for sure.
Yeah. So we really enjoyed this, and we're having a good time. We're going to show you part 2 later down the road. So we're going to wrap this one up from Superior, Montana.
It all starts with an idea.
Take those ideas, turn them into reality, and make some memories, guys. Life's too short.
That's right. That's right. You don't know what tomorrow brings.
We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.